Okay, good morning. I'm Andrew Richards. I work in Cornwall Council, which is a local authority in the United Kingdom. Cornwall is a very remote council, circled at the bottom here. It does have a large proportion of protected buildings, so it has over 12,500 listed buildings and 145 conservation areas, and also a large World Heritage Site. The buildings are often stone built, solid walls, slate roofs. Often the houses are very hard to heat, so upgrading the thermal performance is a big issue. My role has been through putting in bids and project managing heritage-led regeneration schemes over the last few years. Mainly I've been working with the Heritage Lottery Fund's Townscape Heritage Initiative, which funds traditional repairs to historic buildings. These schemes bring empty buildings back into use, restore missing architectural detailing, and fund local materials and local building techniques. You essentially bid for an initial fund, and then you build that fund up through other funding sources to create a common pot, which then can be used usually on 20 to 30 buildings in a town, in a conservation area. These schemes last for 4 to 5 years, and funding includes staffing costs as well as works to the buildings. Typical work. This is 2 examples of typical work that was done 2 or 3 years ago. By collating historical photographs, these have been used to influence completed schemes. So the section of photographs on the right-hand side, the historical photograph on the top left was used to remove the parapet on the image on the top right, remove the later shop front to the left, restore the stonework and slate hanging. So using the historical photographs, that influences traditional construction, getting back to what was there originally. As part of these schemes, we've been emphasising traditional skills training and energy-saving measures. A number of courses have been carried out on live projects as part of these schemes with local colleges, and training days have been run through for local agents, local architects, local authority staff and property owners as well. And this is to increase the awareness of traditional skills, and in terms of the college work, it's to get back traditional training on the syllabus and on the curriculum. We found that the college courses often were geared towards new build construction but not traditional construction. This is one example of a cob bush shelter, a new build project which was built by students from the local college. The construction is in cob, which is a mixture of clay, subsoil and straw mixed together, but it did give the local college a good opportunity of working on a live project and gave a sense of ownership as well. As well as this, often local joiners we found would rather replace traditional details rather than repair it. So as part of this training program, we've managed to get the college to make original windows and to carry out traditional repair techniques as part of college courses. We've also been funding repairs to original fabric. The image on the bottom left is an example of that. We found that a lot of problems from early repair schemes used poor quality wood, and the scarf and detail, as shown on that image, wasn't quite good. So we've been emphasising the use of hardwood for repairs and reclaimed wood as an alternative to newer wood. But that would increase the lifespan of the repairs and doing a bit of work on finishes as well. So having repaired the fabric, the next stage was to increase the thermal performance and the noise performance. We found that there weren't many good local examples, so used the Townscape Heritage Initiative funding to fund what we thought were good practice ways of upgrading old buildings. A lot of this work was done on windows, things like secondary glazing, shutters and slim double glazing were trialled, and the performance of these measures were monitored again through using college students on a local renewable energy course. So we found that things like secondary glazing, there was a bad preconception in that the early secondary glazing was very poor, very clumsy, but there are newer, slicker versions which are easily to manage and not obtrusive visually to buildings. So the monitoring was agreed with property owners. This took the form of remote temperature sensors fixed internally and externally on buildings to measure the difference in temperature between the interior of the building and the exterior. It also included thermal imaging and acoustic monitoring. As part of a grant scheme, we would agree a 1 to 2 week period after the works were complete, but before they were occupied, which gave level conditions for monitoring. There was also a 12-month monitoring period to take account of seasonal change and an interview with occupants at the end of the period. So the feedback from the occupants was really useful, we felt. Typical work, a number of the schemes we looked at involved converting buildings which were split into units, which gave an opportunity of measuring different techniques to in this case, windows. So windows were subtly improved. Things like draft proofing, shutters, and secondary glazing were provided in the same block, which gave a visual comparison from the street scene, but they were also monitored, and there was an interview with tenants after the monitoring period. Acoustic monitoring was also carried out. It was a really good place for acoustic monitoring. We felt it was next to a busy road with idling traffic, next to a railway line, so there's quite good information came back from the read-ins. We found that secondary glazing performed particularly well, comparable to double glazing, and draft proofing made a difference, and there was not so much of a difference between the slim double glazing and in terms of noise, which was quite a useful thing for us to consider in schemes that came forward. The results of the monitoring were fed back into a guidance which we produced, which is available on the website. We looked at other guidance that was available and felt there was a strong need for local examples as opposed to national examples. Found local builders and developers were sceptical on schemes that were quite a distance away. So we wanted to fund works that were readily available, easily accessible, and you could take people down to have a look at them, as well as providing feedback from the monitoring that took place. We felt there was a need for costs, which were we need comparable costs to compare new products to conventional products, again as a negotiating tool and as a working document. And we felt there was a lot of good other links, good other useful information elsewhere which wasn't collated. So the idea was we provide links almost as a working guide, but as a portal almost to well illustrated, but more detailed information is available if you went through the links. So the costs are annually updated by an independent QS, so the document is regularly up to date, and the web links are also updated, which would mean that the document is always current. And it's used as a negotiating tool at an early stage as part of the planning process. So it would be used on pre-application discussions as part of listed building consent applications. we found that listed building consent applications were usually submitted prior to building regulation applications, which meant that the technical details on how older buildings were upgraded was often missing and left. So having a link at pre-application stage allowed a discussion on options at an early stage. So in conclusion, the THI has provided the work that we've provided with an emphasis on the skills training and energy saving work has led to 21 skills training events for 470 local builders, architects, council staff and college students. 95 local college students have been given the opportunity to work on live projects, which we thought was really beneficial and again give a sense of ownership and managed to get the traditional skills on college courses. So these skills have included joinery, metalwork, masonry construction, timber repair, and as well as that, energy monitoring is featured as a module on renewable energy and carbon management courses. A list of local builders and suppliers has also emerged from contractors employed on these schemes, which is quite useful. It's a common problem for property owners to get people suitably qualified to carry out work on historic buildings, and having a list of people who've carried out work and work is satisfactory has been really useful to hand on. Further training sessions are planned for 2015. Good practice energy saving measures have been installed on 21 local housing units, 2 community buildings and 1 commercial unit, which provides us a good local context for reference. The energy guidance has been formally endorsed by the council as a material consideration for land use planning purposes, can be downloaded from the council's website under that link, and has been used to discuss schemes with contractors acting as part of national funded initiatives, as well as pre-application schemes coming into the planning service. It links into local policy and national policy. And the last point is that we've bid for another scheme to carry this work on. We're not guaranteed the funding, but if a bid went in at the end of August, if it is successful, then another scheme will progress these initiatives up until 2020, with a scheme starting in 2016. And that's it, I think. Thank you.